The Controller of the Household is an ancient position in the British royal household, nominally the second-ranking member of the Lord Steward's department after the Treasurer of the Household. The Controller was an ex officio member of the Board of Green Cloth, until that body was abolished in the reform of the local government licensing in 2004. In recent times, a senior government whip has invariably occupied the office. On state occasions the Controller carries a white staff of office, as often seen in portraits. History. Controller is an archaic spelling of controller, recorded since around 1500 in a number of British titles, and later also in the USA. The variant in spelling results from the influence of French compte, account. The office of Controller of the Household derives from the medieval household office of Controller of the Wardrobe, who was deputy to the Keeper of the Wardrobe, as well as an important official in his own right as Keeper of the Privy Seal. Later, both these offices became high-ranking political appointments. In modern times, the Controller has become a less prominent position in British politics. The holder is one of the government whips in the House of Commons, and the responsibilities for the royal household are now largely ceremonial. The current Controller of the Household is Mel Stride, appointed the 17th of July 2016. Known incumbents: 15th century 1399 to 1400 Sir Robert Lytton, 1402 to 1413 John Spencer, 1432 C1450 Thomas Stanley, 1st Baron Stanley, 1460 Thomas Charlton, 1461 1470 Sir John Scott, 1471 to 1475 Sir William Parr, 1st Baron Parr of Kendal, 1475 to 1481 Sir Robert Wingfield, 1481 to 1483 Sir William Parr, 1st Baron Parr of Kendal, 1483 to 1485 Sir Robert Percy of Scotton, 1485 to 1489 Sir Richard Edgecombe, 1489–1492 Sir Roger Tocoates, 1492 to 1494 vacant, 1494 to 1506 Sir Richard Guilford, 16th century 1507 to 1509 Sir John Hussey, 1509 to 1519 Sir Edward Poynings, Sir Thomas Parr, 1519 to 1521 Sir Thomas Boleyn, 1521 to 1532 Sir Henry Guilford, 1532 to 1537 Sir William Paulet, 1537 to 1539 Sir John Russell, 1539 to 1540 Sir William Kingston, 1540 to 1547 Sir John Gage, 1547 to 1550 Sir William Paget, 1550 to 1552 Sir Richard Wingfield, 1552 to 1553 Sir Richard Cotton, 1553 to 1557 Sir Robert Rochester, 1557 to 1558 Sir Thomas Cornwallis, 1558 to 1559 Sir Thomas Parry, 1559 to 1568 Sir Edward Rogers, 1568 Anthony Crane, 1568 to 1570 vacant, 1570 to 1590 Sir James Croft, 1590 to 1596 vacant, 1596 to 1602 William Knollys, 1st Earl of Banbury, 17th century 1602 to 1604 Sir Edward Wotton, c. 1604 William Pitt, 1616 to 1618 Sir Thomas Edmonds, 1618 to 1622 Sir Henry Carey, 1st Viscount Falkland, 1622 to 1627 Sir John Suckling, 1627 to 1629 Sir John Savile, created a baron in 1628, 1629 to 1639 Henry Vane the Elder, 1639 to 1641, Sir Thomas Jermyn, 1641 to 1643, Sir Peter Wyke, 1643 to 1646, Christopher Hatton, 1st Baron Hatton, 1660 to 1662, Sir Charles Berkeley, 1662 to 1666, Sir Hugh Pollard, 2nd Baronet, 1666 to 1668, Sir Thomas Clifford, 1668 to 1672, Francis Newport, 2nd Baron Newport, 1672 to 1687, William Maynard, 2nd Baron Maynard, 1687 to 1688, Henry Waldegrave, 1st Baron Waldegrave, 1689 to 1702, Thomas Wharton, 5th Baron Wharton. 18th century 1702 to 1704, Sir Edward Seymour, B.T. 1704 to 1708, Sir Thomas Mansell, B.T. 1708, the Earl of Cholmondeley, 1708 to 1709, Sir Thomas Felton, B.T. 1709 to 1711, Sir John Holland, B.T. 1711 to 1712, the Lord Lansdowne, 1713 to 1714, Sir John Stonehouse, B.T. 1714 to 1720, Hugh Boscawen, 1720 to 1725, Paul Methuen, 1725 to 1730, Lord Finch, 1730 to 1754, Sir Carnews Darcy, 1754 to 1756, the Earl of Hillsborough, 1756, Lord Hobart, 1756 to 1761, the Lord Edgecombe, 1761, the Earl of Powys, 1761 to 1762, Lord George Cavendish, 1762 to 1763, Humphrey Morris, 1763 to 1765, Lord Charles Spencer, 1765 to 1774, Thomas Pelham, 1774 to 1777, Sir William Meredith, B.T. 1777 to 1779, the Lord Onslow, 1779 to 1782, Sir Richard Worsley, B.T. 1782 to 1784, the Earl Ludlow, 1784 to 1787, the Viscount Galway, 1787 to 1790, Hon. John Villiers, 1790 to 1791, Hon. Dudley Ryder, 1791 to 1797, the Earl of Macclesfield, 1797 to 1804, Lord Charles Somerset, 19th century 1804 to 1812, Lord George Thynne, 1812 to 1830, Lord George Beresford, 1830 to 1834, Lord Robert Grosvenor, 1834 to 1835, Hon. Henry Lowry Corrie, 1835 to 1841, Hon. George Byng, 1841, Lord Marcus Hill, 1841 to 1846, Hon. George Dawson Damer, 1846 to 1847, Lord Marcus Hill, 1847 to 1851, Hon. William Lascelles, 1851 to 1852, Earl of Mulgrave, 1852, Hon. George Weld Forrester, 1853 to 1856, Viscount Drumlanrig, 1856 to 1858, Viscount Castleross, 1858 to 1859, Hon. George Weld Forrester, 1859 to 1866, Lord Proby, 1866 to 1868, Viscount Royston, 1868 to 1874, Lord Otho Fitzgerald, 1874 to 1879, Lord Henry Somerset, 1879 to 1880, Earl of Yarmouth, 1880 to 1885, the Lord Kensington, 1885 to 1886, Lord Arthur Hill, 1886, Edward Marfrey-Banks, 1886 to 1892, Lord Arthur Hill, 1892 to 1895, George Leveson Gower, 1895 to 1898, Lord Arthur Hill, 1898 to 1905, the Viscount Valentia, 20th century, 1905 to 1909, Master of Ely Bank, 1909 to 1912, the Earl of Liverpool, 1912 to 1915, the Lord Saint-Seal, 1915–1916, Charles Henry Roberts, 1916 to 1919, Sir Edwin Cornwall, 1919 to 1921, George Frederick Stanley, 1921 to 1924, Harry Barnston, 1924, John Allen Parkinson, 1924 to 1928, Sir Harry Barnston, 1928–1929, Sir William Cope, 1929 to 1931, Thomas Henderson, 1931, Gorenwy Owen, 1931–1932, Walter Rye, 1932 to 1935, Sir Frederick Penny, B.T. 1935, Sir Victor Warrender, B.T. 1935, George Bowyer, 1935 to 1937, Sir Lambert Ward, 1937, Sir George Frederick Davies, 1937 to 1939, Charles Waterhouse, 1939–1940, Charles Kerr, 1940 to 1942, William Whiteley, 1942 to 1945, William John, 1945, George Madders, 1945, Leslie Pym, 1945–1946, Arthur Pearson, 1946, Michael Stewart, 1946–1951, Frank Collindridge, 1951–1954, Roger Conant, 1954–1955, Tam Galbraith, 1955 to 1957, Henry Oakeshott, 1957–1958, Gerald Wills, 1958–1959, Edward Wakefield, 1959 to 1961, Harwood Harrison, 1961 to 1964, Robin Chichester Clark, 1964 to 1966, Charles Gray, 1966–1967, William Whitlock, 1967–1968, William Howe, 1968–1970, Yohan Evans, 1970, Walter Elliott, 1970–1972, Reginald A. 1972–1973, Bernard Wetherell, 1973–1974, Walter Clegg, 1974–1978, Joseph Harper, 1978–1979, James Hamilton, 1979 to 1981, Spencer Le Marchant, 1981 to 1983, Anthony Berry, 1983 to 1986, Carol Mather, 1986 to 1988, Robert Boscawen, 1988–1989, Tristan Garrell Jones, 1989 1990 Alistair Goodlad, 1990 Sir George Young, 6th Baronet, 1990 to 1995 David Lightbrown, 1995 to 1997 Timothy Wood, 1997 to 2008 Tommy McAvoy, 21st Century 2008 to 2010 John Speller, 2010 to 2013 Alistair Carmichael, 2013 to 2015 Don Foster, 2015-2016 Gavin Barwell, 2016 present Mel Stride.